Hi everyone. So we're going to look at an idea today that you'll be able to make your own. So what I've got is a bow-fronted card, and it's just a normal card inside, but where we've added the acetate to the front, it's got a slight bow to it, so it gives you a bit more dimension on your card. Okay, so this one I've put some herons, I think they're herons, inside, and I've just got a scene. And I've used washi tape to go around the outside. But let's have a look at some other ideas. This one here, I've used a scoreboard and scored lots of straight lines. And I've bent the acetate across. And if we turn the card up there, you can see that I've bent these marks here, so it makes like a column on the front of the card. Okay, now the purpose of the columns or the washi tape is to cover where you've stuck the acetate. So let's have a look at making a simple card. Okay, I've got a 6x6 card. I've got my picture that I want to be the focus of my card. Okay, and we're going to attach that one to the front of the card. You can see you can use anything that you've got in your stash. We've used a scene, we've used a picture. So I'm going to attach that to there. There we go. Now you can see I've got plenty of room either side of my card, but I want to focus the eyes into this area. So what I'm going to do is put double-sided tape down either side. You'll see in a minute we can put this onto the card itself or onto the acetate. Now I've already cut myself some pieces of acetate, and I'm going to remove this side here, and I'm going to put my acetate a fraction of an inch in from the outside. Now because it's acetate you can't really see, but it's about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of a centimetre. Now I let that go down at the moment. I haven't removed this side because what I have here are just some scraps of card. Right, I've just cut up an old box, and I want to have a look at just using one piece of card for the moment, and that doesn't give me much of a rise on the acetate. So let's have a look about 2. Right, that's giving me a little bit more rise on there. Let's have a look what 3 do. Right, I like the feel of that much better. So I'm going to leave my pieces of box in there, peel this up, and just let it fall down. So now when I take those out, I've got this beautiful bow front on my card. Okay, so I know that that was 3 pieces of my box. Okay, so there's our starting point. I've picked up some of the pieces of card, the other picking up the colours in my design. So I've got some burgundy, I've got some orange, and I've got some gold that will pick up these. So let's have a look what we can do. We need to make a couple of panels in some way or another. I think I'm going to go I'm going to go with the orange first. So I'm going to make up 2 panels. So I think I'm going to go for 4 centimetres. And I'm going to cut that now into half. So I've got 2 centimetre panels. You can make them whatever width that you like. Okay, so I've got 2 centimetres. The next one I will make 3 centimetres, so that will be 6 altogether, and cut it into 2 threes. So I've got 2 thin strip, slightly thicker strip, and we're going to add some gold in a minute. So I'm going to take my thin strip. Doesn't matter what length it is at the moment. It has got a nice texture on it. So let's make sure I've got that one sticking up. And I'm going to place that in the middle of that there. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the next one. So at the moment I'm not worried too much about the length or anything. So I can place that onto there and just put a mark. So it doesn't matter what size your original card was, just make your strips to fit. The reason I'm cutting these off is because I've got a small amount of gold, so I want to make sure that I've got this right. So I'm going to do this with fancy scissors. I'm going to leave myself some extra room either side, because your scissors need more card to hang on to. If you only leave a tiny bit, your scissors will shred the card. So I'm going to take my scissors now, and I'm cutting down, putting my points of the scissors along the edge of the burgundy. Cut on right at the end. Now I'm going to match my scissors here and start cutting. Yep. So you can see now I've got a beautiful border coming along. Match my scissors. And all I'm doing is small cuts, never going to the end of my scissors, because you'll get a ragged finish. It's not the fault of the scissors. They've got a safety end here, so your pattern doesn't go right to the end. So just going to trim this off at the bottom. Now I've got 2 panels that will go on there, and when I put them on there they're going to lift up slightly because this is bowed, so it'll give you more dimension as you look into your picture. Okay, now I have here a piece that was on the picture that I had. It's an extra piece that was down the side, and I think I'm taking this one and I'm going to add those to it. So let's fix these on first. Okay, turn it round. I always fix to the bottom first because I can trim off this top edge, but I want my card to stand nicely at the bottom, so I don't want any ragged edge at the bottom. There we go. So I'm going to fit that. I can press flat because this bow window isn't fixed anywhere else than underneath here, so it will move and just spring back when you leave it. Now I'm going to just trim those off, and it's better to turn around and trim it from the back because it's easier to see a straight line. So if you've got any acetate that's hanging over the top, take that off at the same time. Right, so there is my card coming on beautifully. I've now got this one, and normally say you wouldn't fix it on there because it's bowed. We can take this now, put our double-sided tape and if I centre it, I think I'm going to go to there. I can firmly press this down now. Can you see that the acetate is still bowed, but I can press right down. Now this accentuates the bow on your design. Okay, now this bit here, if I wanted to, I could put across the top. Now I think I'm going to mimic that the whole thing about your card making, be prepared to change your mind as you go through to make it what you want to. Now my greeting here hangs just inside the apricot, so I'm going to place that on there, let it go over the acetate to make sure it's going straight onto there, let it go across the bow, and I cut it off here to match. Okay, so also on here we had some corners, so let's have a look, see if we want to use the corners. Could do that. I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to leave it just as it is. So there we have a simple bow-fronted card. Okay. So let's have a look now at some of the other ways that we can do it, and to be really clever, we're going to do a double bow. Right, I've collected some bits together for our next card. Slightly different this time. I've got a picture of a vineyard. Okay, so I'm going to stick that one on. I'm going to stick that on level with the bottom and the side, and that way I can trim off any excess. It saves cutting it exactly to size and then possibly getting it on skew width. Right, much better to overcut it and then adjust it. Now I've got a die cut of a fence because I wanted to add dimension. I've got some wine bottles and some glasses. Okay, but let's have a look at what I've done to these pieces of box that I had. I've done one and labelled it with one thickness. I've done this one with 2 and this one with 3. So it gives me a little bit extra leeway of doing it. I could do 4, 5, whatever I need. And I've also prepared exactly the same as previously in the video, 2 extra panels to go down the sides. So we've got our piece on the background. Okay, I'm now going to take my piece of acetate, and this time I'm going to put the double-sided tape along the edge, but it's difficult to see where it is. So what I do is put it along the side of my mat, and then it's almost as though I'm putting it along the edge of the mat. Okay, so I'm going to remove one piece here, bring it in a fraction from the edge, and then I need to decide how much bow I want on the card. Now I think what I'm going to do is I will do let's see, 3 is like, I like 3, so I'm going to have 3 on there. Let it fall down, don't try and do it to the edge, just let it fall down where it is. Okay, now that has given me one layer, and I'm going to take my biggest piece of decoupage and I'm going to fit that on here. Almost did that wrong. Okay, I'm going for the smaller piece, because that, if it's further away, it will look smaller in the distance. So I'm going to take that one, and I'm fitting it. I've got to remember I'm going to have this down the side, so I'm going to place that about there. Okay. Right, now I want to have this ready to go on, and I've got another piece of acetate there, so I'm just going to make the edge a little bit wavy so it's not so hard going across. Right, I'm now going to take that place double-sided tape on both ends here. Get that ready. Now I'm going to place my fence along now, and I'm just going to run out of tape. Right, I'm going to tape along the edge of the fence. Difficult to find the ends sometimes. There we go. And I'm going along the fence in a couple of places. Okay. I want it to go with the bow of the acetate, so I need it fixed all the way along. There we go. So now I'm going to add my fence, but I want it to go with the bow of the card. So you can see now it's going over there. Right, I'm going to put my next piece on here, which I want to pull up the bow a little bit further. So we used 3, pop that under there, 3 to bring that one out. So I'm going to now put a 2 in place. Okay, there's my acetate, there's the wiggly line. So I'm going to place that on the side, leave this in place and let it fall down with the 2 spacer there. So now I have a space at the back and a space over the fence. Right, now I'm going to take this bit here, just about got enough left on here. Now this will look as though it's in the air, but really it's going to be on the acetate that is going over. So 2 layers of acetate at different heights. Okay, and there we've got our wine coming up there. We need now to cover these sides. So take the ones that I've prepared, just exactly the same as previously in the video. Take it, line it up with the bottom. That's there. Again, line it up to the bottom and down the sides. So there we've got a beautiful card, lots of dimension, but we haven't had to put a lot of sticky fixers in to raise it up. We've used acetate. So we've got the vineyard, wine and grapes in the basket behind, fence, and now we've got a bottle of wine in the foreground. Now I do happen to have an extra bit on here, and I'm going to take an extra wine glass, And I'm just going to bring a wine glass down this side, just coming onto our strip here. So that's added a bit more dimension. Okay, so doesn't matter what you have as a subject matter, right? Just have a think about putting a piece of acetate across the card and making it bow a little bit. Okay, so that is 2 lots of acetate. This one is 1 lot of acetate, excuse me, but I've used a scoreboard to just make lots of lines to make some columns. Okay, this one was showing how to make the panels that go down the side from just anything that you have that will pick up the colours behind in your picture. And this one was simply done with washi tape. So again, a piece of acetate bowed across the front, gone down either side to cover up the double-sided tape, and a bit across the top and bottom to frame it. Okay, so lots of ideas that you can do depending on what you have in your craft stash. So the important thing is be prepared to start and then see how you go with that. And most important, have fun. God bless you all.